This is the beginning of the end. Because this is the final episode in books to screen adaptations that you are going to watch, and this series is also concluding with 2023 coming to a pass. Hello everyone, welcome back to Procrastinate with Books. In this episode of Books to Screen Adaptation, we will be discussing few upcoming releases that are about to be adapted into the screen adaptations who have been inspired from book. Some of them have directly been translated into an on-screen story, while some of them have a mediocre level of adaptation versus certain changes that you can expect on the on-screen presentation. So without much further ado, let's quickly jump in to check out what are those screen adaptations that you must stay tuned into, and what are some of those adaptations that are anticipated but I have some iffy-ish feelings about. Let's start off with the first book, which is The Rings of Power Season 2 that's going to come up. And this series, I'm not really sure why they are even planning for the season 2 for this, because the first season wasn't such a big hit. Not just for me personally, but also for other viewers out there. I read few of the reviews that are, mentioned globally, and it wasn't the best thing I read about the series, let me tell you. Though I do love the J.R. Tolkien world build up that has been there for ages and ages. I really don't understand the concept of Rings of Powers, why they are creating so many seasons out of it. And this series is something that I would like to give it a pass, because even season 1 beyond episode 6 was a torture for me. Next up in the configuration, we have the Sandman season 2. There are a lot of seasons coming out for different series that are already out there in the market, and Sandman 2 is another one of them, I would say. Would still say that I do prefer the graphic novels of Sandman. I do prefer the actual books of Sandman series, but I don't really find the Sandman online version of it pretty fascinating. I think beyond the first season's few episodes, they were no doubt pretty fascinating, but you get lured out of it pretty easily, and that's why this is not something that I'm really excited about, though this has been on my radar, and that's why I decided to mention it. Then we have the Bridgerton season 3 coming up in 2024, and unlike the previous two that I gave a pretty pass on situation, this is a must watch for me. I have read and I have viewed it from other people's reviews as well, that these are in fact better than the books too. Especially the season 2 was much better than the book version of it, where the characters were not so diverse compared to the cast that was there in season 2. I think they have wowed simply everybody, and this one's a must watch. You already know the pretty theme plot. The story here would be revolving around Penelope Featherington and Collins Bridgeton, who was a long held crush of Penelope, but now that things happened as the way things ended in season 2 last episode, things are going to change slightly from there, and let's see how Penelope drives her future from this position. And that's what I think would be the main plot. I'm really excited to see this season. The overall filming of this was actually wrapped up in March 2023, but no exact dates have been mentioned for the release of it. It's just heard that it would be coming out in 2024, so I'm keeping that on my radar, and I'm really excited to watch this. And anyone who basically loves Jane Austen vibes, Europe, elite society, such kind of things, I think this would be their vibe. Next up, we have the upcoming season of Heartstopper. Now, already 2 seasons are out there in the market. The next season is scheduled to come in 2024, and I'm so very excited about it. This is one of the best graphic novels that you would probably read on an LGBTQ trope evolving gay romances, and it has a really nice, subtle story. Now, usually, I'm not really the person when it comes to romances, but this book and even the online transitions have been fairly simply fully done. I would say the season 3 is something that's yet to come up, and I'm really excited to watch it. Now, the earlier 2 seasons have already covered up story plots up until book 3, so we are anticipating that the upcoming season would be focusing around the book 4, which is the finale, so it's even more points to get tuned up for this one. Turtles All the Way Down is a film that was supposed to be out long back, but it has not been yet released. It is anticipated to come out in 2024, so keeping our fingers crossed that they do pass all the checklists that they have pending to get this book out in the market and simply watch the story. The story of the book also was pretty emotional, and I'm really excited to see how they have adapted this into the screen version of it. The story plot basically is around a 16-year-old who is actually, dealing with OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and because of that there's certain mental illness angle that has been transcribed into the story, and then at the same time that person is also meeting up their childhood crush and just managing this whole love angle with the mental illness angle, and pretty real life story. It's not actually a real life story, but it seems so real when you actually read it. There are a few other books of John Green as well that have already been adapted into the screen adaptation, such as The Fault in Our Stars and The Paper Towns. But I'm not the biggest fan of those. I know a lot of people are diehard fans of it, but for me personally, I'm actually really excited for this one instead. The final recommendation that I have for you guys is Wicked. Now, this book has a very interesting journey. This book that you see on the screen in here was published around 1995, I guess, and then forward from there, there were two other parts that were published in the series as well. Later on, in 2003, the book actually got adopted into a Broadway musical show, and after that, now finally, the Broadway musical show is being adapted into a feature film. And I'm not really sure how much concentration of the actual book story would translate into the movie part of it, because the movie will be then further divided into two parts. The first part of the movie would be coming out in November 2024, and the second part would be coming out in 2025. Knowing me, you guys must already know that I love anything related to witches and story, and especially after reading the plot lines of this one, I was really excited to how the musical to movie translation would actually come up like. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that this be the one of the best movies that I ever see related to the witches. It is also giving me hopes that since it's coming out in November 2024, probably next Halloween I'll have something fruitful to watch. Now, beyond the recommendations for 2024, I have two honorable mentions that I would like to share with you guys. The first one is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which is for anyone who loves Hunger Games. The story has been in theaters since November 17, 2023, so I think it's already out now, and if you haven't already watched this, you can probably try this. This one is more of a storytelling from Snow's perspective rather than from the victim's perspective, which is done in the Hunger Games, and it actually shows you how he became the person that he is right now. From background perspective, I think the story was pretty well, but I wasn't really satisfied with the way the book actually ended, and I'm yet to see the movie of this one, but this is for Hunger Games fans and does deserve a mention in this video. My next honorable mention for you guys is for The Color Purple. Now, this book has already been translated into a movie long back, I think around 1985, 3 years from when the book actually launched up. Now, however, it's being retranslated into the modern day setup, and though the plot of the story still revolves around the African American women living in America around 1900s in the South area, the overall theme yet is to be stabilized on the same concept. However, there would be certain modern elements that are probably to be showcased in the upcoming movie. The movie is supposed to be released on Christmas around 25th of December 2023. So I'm yet to watch that and give my verdict on this. But considering the plot is so interesting and pretty novel from rest of it, I'm really looking forward to read it. Also, another angle that this book has added is that it's a musical, so stay tuned for a lot of happening songs in there. And that, my friends, was everything I had to share in the finale episode of Books to Screen Adaptations. Not to mention that this would be the final episode, and with this, we'll be wrapping up this series and coming back in 2024, probably with a new series for you guys to watch out. And since this series is now complete, I would recommend few other people who have not seen the initial episodes of books to screen adaptations to go ahead and binge watch all the five together, so that you know what to watch and what not to watch all together, because it's all been discussed now. And I really hope that you had a wonderful time watching this video. Do let me know in the comments down below what did you think, and are you excited to watch any new movie upcoming in 2024? I'm looking forward to your responses. And until next time, I'll catch up with you in my next video. Until then, keep your coffee strong and your TBRs long. Goodbye.